Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel, Ariadne's Games. Or Ari's Games. My name is Ariadne. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. Um, these little episodes are gonna be outside of the Mondays and Morrowind theme. I was thinking of dedicating a section of the game to just books. Finding books, reading books, things like that. Um, because there's so many books in this game, and some of them, many of them are very interesting, and I don't want to leave it out because it has nothing to do with the quests or the plot or anything like that. Now, books that are involved with the main game, like the main quest or even side quests, I will read those in Mondays and Morrowind. But these books that I want to read are the ones that aren't involved in any quests. So, let me see. I have, oh, another thing I need to say. I lost a lot of my saves between last Monday's and Morrowind and today. I ended up having to replay a good chunk of it. And I ended up missing the Imperial Cult quest, but I can get that later. And I ended up not selling these books here. Um, I did say I would read Silence, um, and I'm also going to read Progress of Truth, but Progress of Truth I'm going to save for Mondays and Morrowind, because that is part of the plot. So let's get started with Silence by Ganfril Kenneth. I've heard of you, said the old vagabond, very impressed. Aren't you the adventurer who slew all those ash vampires in Ghostgate a couple months back? That I am, said Aristian Silverthorn, with a weary smile for his admirer. He knew that his name was not yet legendary, and it was best to be polite. And you are? My name would have no meaning to you, but I'm Error Darathil, he said, raising a glass of grief. I hail from the region of Ghostgate, which is how I heard your name. Are you on an adventure as we speak? Yes, said Silverthorn, with a grim expression. I'm challenged to rid the Gracelands of a rogue battle mage by the name of Egro Amaro. I've heard of him as well, said Darathil. He is said to be very powerful, an implacable foe. That is why I'm drinking now, sighed Silverthorn. So tell me, what is your profession? I do nothing, said Darathil with some measure of pride, but in my youth I used to teach the skills of illusion at the University of Gwillem. Perhaps you can help me then, said Silverthorn, suddenly excited. Can you teach the spell Silence? I can certainly pay you. Oh, I know that spell, said Darathil. You might find invisibility very helpful as well, or perhaps darkness, which would allow you to sneak up on old Egro Amaro. No, said Silverthorn firmly. I only have time to learn one spell. I have to kill Egro Amaro, collect the reward, and be back in Nisus as quickly as possible. My wife worries when I'm away. Darathil agreed, and as the two settled back in their seats at the corner club and tossed back glasses of grief, the old man shared his knowledge of the spell. He explained what it truly meant to bend sound, creating a cone of silence as glass can bend light. He had Silverthorn close his eyes while he tapped the side of his glass, making him picture the sound as the physical entity it was before it was extinguished. The adventurer, after a few hours of instruction, paid the old teacher and set off on his way. In Duranyan, Egro Amaro's stronghold was not far from Sadrith Mora, and he soon saw the blight and ruin that was the battle mage's calling card. Delving into the depths of the ruins, Silverthorn was set upon by the servitors of Egro Amaro, living and undead. With his enchanted ebony blade, he cut through legions before facing the master himself in the desolate main hall. Egro Amaro bowed to his adversary sardonically, and then prepared to unleash a fireball to incinerate him. Before he had uttered the first word of the spell, he suddenly found that all the creaking and sighing of the ruins around him had been stilled. He opened his voice to speak, but there was no sound. Silverthorn took his time, strolling across the length of the hall, before dispatching the battle mage with one stroke of his blade. The adventurer rushed back to the tribunal temple where he had received his quest. accepted the gold and the thanks, and was back in his house in Nisus but a few days later. His wife Leah was beside herself with worry. All I could do night after night is toss and turn. I kept imagining you burned to ashes by that battle mage. And where would that leave me? Do we have enough gold that I could support myself if you, Saint Sarian, let it not be so, were killed during one of these jaunts? I don't think so. Why couldn't you get a nice position at the Fighters Guild right here in town? I hear they were looking for a trainer for the Imperial Guard. I know. You want a life of adventure and danger and freedom. But if you'd only take one moment to think of me, stuck here all by myself worrying about you, I suppose you'd like it if I took more of an interest in your work. But it's like I was telling Sir Calicia Vignum the other day. I said, Calissa, what good is a husband? Leah continued to talk, deaf to the fact that her words were dead before they left her mouth. Silverthorn smiled and nodded his head, enjoying the silence. He could have killed Amaro without the spell, he considered, but he could not have survived his wife. Oh, that's so funny. Ha 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 ha. I regret reading that. Nah, it's not that bad. It's just... Yeah. Women are such a pain in the butt. Why do you marry us? I don't know. Because you love us? I don't know. I mean, if you don't like women, then don't marry one.
There's someone watching me.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Don't sell that. Don't sell that. Ooh, 550 bucks. That's all I can give her, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, so speaking of Nisus, we are gonna go to Nisus. Because my favorite book is in Nisus. Let me grab my... Oh, gosh. Grab those while I'm here. And you know, sometimes husbands talk a lot. And they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Women aren't the only ones who do that.
Tidings and good wishes to you, friend.
Alright, let's put these books away that I have in my pocket. Oh, no, I'm keeping progress. Okay, you're right. We're just gonna put that one away. Alright. Going to Nisus. So we're not gonna do any quests in these games, or you know, these episodes. All we're gonna do is try to find books and read them. I'll try to keep them about the same length as the regular episodes. I gotta figure out where the barracks are. I think I know. I think it's this building way in the back here. I probably won't be able to take it, but I can at least read it. Rain, rain, go away. Yeah, this is it. Okay, let's start on the first floor. If we can. They said it was here in the barracks somewhere. I don't...
Speak freely, friend.
I doubt it's in a chest, but I guess I can look there next.
Well, where did I put that?
And I'm surprised no one's going, what are you doing down here? You don't belong here.
Yes?
Yay. If I can't find it here, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to... Lock 75. Huh, I wonder where that leads. I might steal stuff while I'm in here. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can open a 75 lock, though. If I could, I would have done the fat legs drop off. No books in here. I would think if it's here, it's gonna be where people can get to it. Yeah, it's not gonna be in a chest. I don't think.
I'm listening.
Is that it? Ah, there it is, the locked room.
May your kills be quick and many.
Thank you, Mr. Orc. Alright. This is my favorite story, unless I find another one that's even better. But this is my favorite. Security skill increased 44. Woohoo! The Locked Room by Porbert Littomley. Yana was precisely the kind of student her mentor Arth Camus despised. The professional amateur. He enjoyed all the criminal types who were his usual pupils at the stronghold, from the common burglar to the more sophisticated blackmailers, children and young people with strong career ambitions, which the art and science of lockpicking could facilitate. They were always interested in simple solutions, the easy way, but people like Yana were always looking for exceptions, possibilities, exotica. For pragmatists like Arth Camus, it was intensely vexing. The Redguard maiden would spend hours in front of a lock, prodding at it with her wires and picks, flirting with the key pins and driver pins, exploring the hull with a sort of casual fascination that no delinquent possesses. Long after her fellow students had opened their test locks and moved on, Yana was still playing with hers. The fact that she always opened it eventually, no matter how advanced a lock it was, irked Arth Camus even further. "You are making things much too difficult," he would roar, boxing her ears. "Speed is of the essence, not merely technical know-how. I swear that if I put the key to the lock right in front of you, you'd still never get around to opening it." Yana could bear Arth Camus' views philosophically. She had, after all, paid him in advance. Speed was doubtless an important factor for the picker trying to get somewhere he wasn't supposed to go, with the city guard on patrol behind him, but Yana knew it wouldn't apply to her. She merely wanted the knowledge. Arth Camus did everything he could think... Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Arth Camus did everything he could think of to encourage Yana to move faster. She seemed to perversely thrive on his physical and verbal blows, spending more and more time on each lock, learning its idiosyncrasies and personality. Finally, he could bear it no longer. Very late one afternoon, after Yana had dawdled over a perfectly ordinary lock, he grabbed the girl by her ear and dragged her to a room in the stronghold far from the other students, an area they had always been forbidden to visit. The room was completely barren, except for one large crate in the center. There were no windows and no other door except for the one leading in. Arth Camus slammed his student against the crate and closed the door behind her. There was a distinct click of the lock. "This is the test for my advanced students," he laughed behind the door. "See if you can escape." Yana smiled and began her usual slow process of massaging the lock, gaining information. After a few minutes had gone by, she heard Arth Camus' voice again call out from behind the door. "Perhaps I should mention that this is a test of speed. You see the crate behind you? It contains a vampire ancient who has been locked in here for many months. It is absolutely ravenous. In a few minutes' time, the sun will have completely set, and if you have not opened the door, you will be nothing but a bloodless husk." Yana considered only for a moment whether Arth Camus was joking or not. She knew he was an evil, horrible man, but to resort to murder to teach his pupil? The moment she heard a rustling in the crate, any doubts she had were erased. Ignoring all her usual explorations, she jammed her wire into the lock, thrust the pegs against the pressure plate, and shoved open the door. Arth Camus stood in the hallway beyond, laughing cruelly. "So, now you've learned the value of fast work." Yana fled from Arth Camus' stronghold, fighting back her tears. He was certain that she would never return to his tutelage, but he considered that he had taught her at last a very valuable lesson. When she did return the next morning, Arth Camus registered no surprise, but inside he was seething. "I'll be leaving shortly," she explained quietly, "but I believe I've developed a new type of lock, and I'd be grateful if you'd give me your opinion of it." Arth Camus shrugged and asked her to present her design. "I was wondering if I might use the vampire room and install the lock. I think it would be better if I demonstrated it." Arth Camus was dubious, but the prospect of the tiresome girl leaving at last put him in an excellent and even indulgent mood. He agreed to give her access to the room. For all morning and most of the afternoon, she worked near the slumbering vampire, removing the old lock and adding her new prototype. Finally, she asked her old master to take a look. He studied the lock with an expert eye and found little to be impressed with. This is the first and only pig-proof lock, Yana explained. The only way to open it is to have the right key. Arth Camus scoffed and let Yana close the door, shutting him in the room. The door clicked and he began to go to work. To his dismay, the lock was much more difficult than he thought it would be. He tried all his methods to force it and found that he had to resort to his hated student's method of careful and thorough exploration. I need to leave now, called Yana from the other side of the door. I'm going to bring the city guard to the stronghold. I know that it's against the rules, but I really think it's for the welfare of the villagers not to have a hungry vampire on the loose. It's getting dark, and even though you aren't able to unlock the door, the vampire might be less proud about using the key to escape. Remember when you said if I put the key to the lock right in front of you, you'd still never get around to opening it? Wait! Arth Camus yelled back. I'll use the key. Where is it? You forgot to give it to me. But there was no reply, only the sound of footfall disappearing down the corridor beyond the door. Arth Camus began to work harder on the lock, but his hands were shaking with fear. With no windows, it was impossible to tell how late it was getting to be. Were minutes that were flying by, or hours? He only knew that the vampire ancient would know. The tools could not stand very much twisting and tapping from Arth Camus' hysterical hands. The wire snapped in the keyhole, just like a student. Arth Camus screamed and pounded on the door, but he knew that no one could possibly hear him. It was while sucking in his breath to scream again, he heard the distinct creak of the crate opening behind him. The vampire ancient regarded the master locksmith with insane, hungry eyes and flew at him in a frenzy. Before Arth Camus died, he saw it. On a chain that had been placed around the vampire's neck while it had been sleeping was a key. I love that story. I love that story. Too proud to look around and make sure you found the key. Okay, so we read 2 books today. Next time I do books in Morrowind, we are going to, or books of Morrowind. It doesn't matter. Either way. We're going to search for the books of the Poison Song, but we're not going to read them all because there's 7 of them. So we're not going to read them all at once, but we are going to try to find them. And that's, thanks for joining me for this short extra episode of Morrowind. Let me know if you like this idea. I will be back on Monday with the regular game. Thanks for joining me. See you later.